Koryo embodies Koryo's founding principles of restoring Goguryol's territories and Joseon's spirit of Sunbi. The progress line of Koryo Pumse, which represents the spirit of an upright and strong Sunbi, is the character Sa, which means Sunbi. We will now take a look at the key moves of Koryo Pumse. Koryo Pumse consists of 13 moves, namely 통밀기 준비 자세, 고릎 옆차기, 젖혀 찌르기, 눌러 꺾기, 팔꿈치 옆치기, 손날 바깥치기, 손날 아래 막기, 아금손 앞치기, 바탕손 눌러맞기, 매주목 표적 아래치기, 안팔목 헤쳐맞기, 손날 옆맞기, and 표적 찌르기. We will now take a closer look at each of the key moves of Koryo Pumse. Koryo Pumse begins with 통밀기 준비 자세. Open your hands so your palms are face up. Then start in front of the lower abdomen, past the chest, and push forward so your hand blades face forward between the philtrum and neck. The tips of the hands are placed at the philtrum level. Your palms should face each other and maintain a face length between them. The angle of the arms should be 90 to 120 degrees, and your thumbs should be touching your hands. Do not straighten the thumbs. Do not raise the elbows. Your elbows should not rise when your hands are raised. The palms of your hands should not be visible when seen from the front. 고룹 옆차기 is a technique used to perform kicks with the same leg 2 or more times in succession. You usually strike an opponent's lower body, torso, or face in succession. Draw the attention of an opponent with the first kick, then dominate them with the second kick, or trip and block against an opponent's attack with the first kick and dominate them with the second kick. 고룹차기 can be applied with various forms of kicks, such as 고룹 앞차기, 고룹 옆차기, 고룹 돌려차기, etc. 젖혀 찌르기 is a technique used to strike an opponent's lower abdomen downward after pulling back the tip of the hand. In Koryo Pumse, 눌러 꺾기 is a technique of using the arc fist, 악무손, downward and holding an opponent's arm or leg with the other hand to press and twist. You typically press and twist their joints to dominate them. Besides pressing down and twisting the joints, another goal of Koryo Pumse is to strike or push an opponent by pressing, twisting their kneecap, disrupting their balance. 팔꿈치 옆치기 is a technique that uses the edge of the elbow with the fist and elbow in alignment to attack an opponent in a straight line from the inside out. 손날 바깥치기 is a technique that uses a reversed hand blade to attack from the inside out. The target is an opponent's face and torso. 손날 아래막기 is the same as 아래막기, but it can also be used to strike and block an opponent's attack by opening the hand, or used as 바라막기 and 걷어막기. 아금손 앞치기 is a technique typically used to attack an opponent's neck with the arch of the arc fist and arm placed in a line. To achieve a hard strike and prevent injuries, the wrist must be properly straightened. Your forefingers should be twisted to face outward rather than forward, and your wrist should be straight. 바탕손 눌러막기 is a technique used to press and block downward. The palm of your hand is level with the solar plexus, and the space between your arm and torso should be about one fist. The blocking arm should be parallel to the ground. 매주목 표적 아래치기 is a technique used to slowly draw a circle with your arms, cross above your head. Open your right hand in front of the lower abdomen. Then lightly hit your right palm with a left hammer fist. The fist should be made at the shoulder line. Slowly with a breath. Naturally bend your arms. Be careful not to straighten your wrists when your arms come down, drawing a circle. 안팔목 헤쳐막기 is a technique used to block inside out using the inner wrist of your arms. The inner wrist should be level with your solar plexus when blocking, defending the torso, and the distance between the two should remain a shoulder's length. Your elbow should face downward without detaching from the body, and be careful the move does not resemble 등주먹 앞치기. 손날 옆막기 is a technique to block the sides by performing 손날 바깥막기 by standing sideways, like standing in the 주춤 서기 posture. A reminder: the direction of the force progresses inside out. The last of the 13 key moves is 표적 지르기. 표적 지르기 is a technique used to create a target with the palm of the hand. Perform jirugi toward the palm with the fist. It is used to connect other techniques by pulling an opponent using the force gathered in your hands after the jirugi. It is important to place the target and fist at the solar plexus level. These are the 13 key moves of Koryo Pumse. We will now look at the moves in succession connecting each move. The key moves of Koryo first part consist of 통밀기 준비 자세, 왼손날 고도로 맞기, 오른 거듭 옆차기, 오른손날 바깥치기, 왼 지르기, 오른 안맞기, 오른손날 고도로 맞기, 왼 고듭 옆차기, 왼손날 바깥치기, 오른 지르기, and 왼 안맞기. Reclaim your kicking leg after performing 고듭 옆차기. Then perform the preparatory 손날 바깥치기 move. Complete 손날 바깥차기 when the ball and heel of the right foot touch the ground. The hand blade should be slightly above the shoulder, and the target of the hand blade is the opponent's neck. Push off the ground with the front foot from jirugi and continue with anmaki by moving your center backwards. Change direction using the ball of the leg that acts as the central axis when turning and setting. Cautions for Koryo Iljang. Taking a closer look. When performing the second yopchagi during gorop yopchagi, the heel of the supporting foot should face the direction of the kick. The force of the hand blade should be transferred from the inside out. When turning and setting, be careful not to change direction using the heel of the leg acting as the central axis. We will now practice the moves of Koryo Iljang in succession while watching the video. The key moves of Koryo second part consist of 왼손날 아래막기, 오른 아굼손 앞치기, 오른 앞차기, 오른 손날 아래막기, 왼 아굼손 앞치기, 왼 앞차기, 왼 손날 아래막기, 오른 아굼손 앞치기, 오른 앞차기, 왼 눌러 꺾기, 안팔목 헤쳐맞기, 왼 앞차기, 오른 눌러 꺾기, and 안팔목 헤쳐맞기. 손날 아래막기 is used not only for striking and blocking, but also applied to goromaki and paramaki. It is effective to block an opponent's inner or outer leg when striking and blocking an opponent's attack. The space between the thigh and the hand should be about 2 raised fists' length. 손날 아래막기 and 아굼손 앞치기 are connected and should be performed quickly in succession. 앞차기 and 손날 아래막기 should connect without pause. You need to control your breath to achieve a harmonious movement. When blocking, defending the torso, your fists should be level with the solar plexus. Remember that your fists should not rise above your shoulders. Also, the left arm crosses outside the right foot if the left foot is in front, and the right foot crosses outside the left foot if the right foot is in front. Cautions for Koryo second part. Taking a closer look. Do not overextend the elbow of the blocking arm during the 손날 아래막기 move. Also, be careful not to rely solely on the strength of the arm to block. During 앞차기, do not pause before the kick or fold and raise the leg past the supporting leg to make the kick. When performing 눌러 꺾기, the hand should not be above or below the elbow. Do not use the palm of your hand with the wrist used to press and twist upward. Concentrate force so that only the narrow part of the arc fist touches the target. During 안팔목 헤쳐맞기, do not cross your fists like 등주먹 앞치기 and turn forward on the inside. Your center should not be on your hind leg during 앞서기. We will now practice the moves of Koryo second part in succession while watching the video. The key moves to Koryo third part consist of 왼손날 옆맞기, 오른 표적 찌르기, 왼 옆차기, 왼 쩌쩌 찌르기, 오른 아래맞기, 왼 바닥손 늘어맞기, 오른 팔꿈치 옆치기, 오른 손날 옆맞기, 왼 표적 찌르기, 오른 옆차기, 오른 쩌쩌 찌르기, 왼 아래막기, 왼 파탕손 눌러막기, and 왼 팔꿈치 옆치기. 손날 옆막기 is performed by turning and setting the right foot backwards, using the left ball as the axis from the previous move and assuming the 주춤서기 posture. Do not forget that the elevation of the thrusting fist and the palm of the hand acting as a target should be level with the solar plexus. The thrusting arm should straighten, and the target arm should straighten naturally. The connection of 표적 지르기 and 옆차기 is repeated twice in Koryo third part. The two arms should remain in place until the 옆차기. For 표적 지르기, imagine an opponent forcefully holding your arm. Pull with assistance of the force from the other arm, then connect with a 옆차기 attack. Move and set your right foot in front of your left foot with 고아서기. Bend and raise your left leg. Pull your arms to the right side of your waist. Then perform 돌저귀 and 옆차기 at the same time. Pulling of the two fists to the back and the 옆차기 move must be balanced in terms of force and speed. The heel of the supporting leg should point in the direction of the kick. The target of the 옆차기 is an opponent's face, torso, and lower body, and can be changed depending on the level and the objective of training. The back of the hand should face upward at the solar plexus after 옆차기. Twist the wrist so the palm faces upward. Then strike the pressure point in the lower abdomen. The heel of the foot that performed 옆차기 should touch the ground at the same time 젖젖 찌르기 is performed to finish the move. Cautions for Koryo third part. Taking a closer look. During 손날 옆막기, the force from the blocking arm should not be directed forward. The two arms that performed 표적 지르기 must remain in place until 옆차기 is performed. 고아서기 posture is assumed before 옆차기, and your fists must not be pulled back. Do not kick above the head with 옆차기, and be careful not to let your head fall below your back. We will now practice the moves of Koryo third part in succession while watching the video. The key moves of Koryo fourth part consist of 매주먹 표적 아래 치기, 왼 손날 바깥치기, 왼 손날 아래막기, 오른 손날 안치기, 오른 손날 아래막기, 왼 손날 안치기, 왼 손날 아래막기, and 오른 아금손 앞치기. In Koryo fourth part, you can attack upward and block downward with 손날치기 and 손날 아래막기 in succession, but it is also possible to attack by quickly applying the upward and downward move. The lower body should hold steady. The torso should be flexible through your central axis with appropriate breathing. Cautions for Koryo fourth part. Taking a closer look. When performing 손날 안치기, the elbow should not move forward and assume a 손끝 지르기 posture. The elbow of the blocking arm should not overextend when performing 손날 아래막기. We will now practice the moves of Koryo fourth part in succession while watching the video. You are now on the verge of becoming a master of Koryo Pumse. We will take another look at all the moves and master Pumse. We have looked at the key moves of Koryo Pumse and provided thorough explanations for each move and things to watch out for. You will be able to master much better postures and techniques by training the Koryo Pumse and reminding yourself of the spirit of Sunbi. We will see you again in the Geumgang Pumse video. Thanks for watching. The progress line of Geumgang Pumse, which represents the strong and unshakable warrior, is the character San, which means mountain. We will now take a look at the key moves of Geumgang Pumse. Geumgang Pumse consists of 6 key moves, namely Batangson Apchigi, Sonnar Anmaki, Geumgang Maki, Kun Doljogi, Sandulmaki, and Hakdari Sogi. We will now take a closer look at each of the key moves of Geumgang Pumse. Batangson Apchigi is a technique used to attack a target in a straight line using the lower part of the palm of your hand. First, tilt your hand outward by 45 degrees. Then pull your wrist back as much as possible to concentrate force on the palm of your hand. Your hand should be level with your chin and aligned with the center line. You can concentrate the force on the palm of your hand when the wrist is tilted 45 degrees outward. Sonnar Anmaki is a technique used to perform anmaki with the hand blade. The hand blade should be level with the solar plexus and aligned with the center line. Be careful not to let the tip of the hand rise above the shoulder. Geumgang Maki is a combination of Orgul Oryomaki and Aremaki performed simultaneously. For Aremaki, the space between your leg and arm should be about 2 raised fists. The space between the arm blocking the face and forehead should be about 1 raised fist. This move must be performed slowly, exerting force on the lower abdomen. Be careful not to let the arm blocking the face cross the elbow blocking the lower body on the outside. Kun Doljogi. Place the wrist of one arm at the lilac crest and the other arm in front of the solar plexus. The space between the arm on top and the torso should be about one raised fist. The fist on top must be placed in the same line as the fist on the lilac crest. Santermaki is a move to perform techniques by utilizing the twist of the lower and upper body. One arm is used to block the face inside out with the inner wrist. The other arm is used to block the face outside in with the outer wrist. The wrists should be level with the philtrum. Elbows should face downward and made perpendicular to the ground without bending the wrist. Hakdari sogi is a useful technique to dodge an opponent's attack or perform a counterattack after a dodge. Maintain balance with one leg. Bend and raise the other knee and lightly touch the arc of the back of the foot blade inside the supporting leg. Face forward so your knees don't open outward, and naturally straighten the ankle of the leg inside the knee of the supporting leg. Then bend the supporting leg to the same height as chuchumsogi. These are the 6 key moves of Geumgang Pumse. We will now look at the moves in succession connecting each move. The key moves of Geumgang first part consist of 안팔목 해쳐맞기, 오른 파탕손 앞치기, 왼 파탕손 앞치기, 오른 파탕손 앞치기, 왼 손날 안맞기, 오른 손날 안맞기, and 왼 손날 안맞기. When performing 안팔목 해쳐맞기, cross the left arm outside the right arm if the left foot is in front. Your fists must not rise above your shoulders when blocking, defending your torso. Your wrist should be level with your solar plexus. Geumgang is a pumse that expresses mass. When connecting batangson apchigi and sonnar anmaki, keep in mind this concept. When performing sonnar anmaki, the foot should set backwards in a straight line. Cautions for Geumgang first part. Taking a closer look. When performing 안팔목 해쳐맞기, the 2 fists should not cross and turn from front to inside like 등중목 앞치기. Be careful not to rush connecting the 3 batangson apchigi moves. Be sure not to let the hind knee of the ball foot bend. When setting the foot back from 뒷굽이 to 뒷굽이, be careful not to let the foot draw a circle as it sets back. Set the foot back before the center axis turns or the heel of the hind foot twists without moving the center. When performing sonnar anmaki, be careful not to let the elbow move away too far from the torso. We will now practice the moves of Geumgang first part in succession while watching the video. The key moves of Geumgang second part consist of Geumgang maki, 큰 돌적귀, 큰 돌적귀, 산들맞기, 안팔목 해쳐맞기, and 아래 해쳐맞기. When transitioning to Geumgang maki from the previous move, Push off the ground with your left foot and move your center to your right foot. Turn your right foot to the central axis and slowly assume the Hakdari Sogi posture. Hakdari Sogi Geumgang Maki should be performed firmly and slowly. Be mindful of the space between the parts of your body when assuming the Geumgang Maki posture. For Aremaki, the space between your leg and arm should be about 2 raised fists. The space between the arm blocking the face and forehead should be about 1 raised fist. When spinning from Kundoljogwi to Kundoljogwi, the ball of the setting right foot should start at the same line with the ball of the left foot. Next, move 1 foot length and spin. Switch from Oren Kundoljogwi to Wen Kundoljogwi, then perform Oren Kundoljogwi again. Cautions for Geumgang second part. Taking a closer look. Be careful not to rush Hakdari Sogi. When performing Geumgang Maki, be careful not to let the arm blocking the face upward cross the elbow of the arm blocking the lower body from the outside. When performing Kundoljogwi, your eyes should not be directed forward. Do not jump when spinning, and be mindful of where you're looking. When performing Hechomaki, be careful not to let your fists cross each other and spin inward like Dungjumok Apchigi. We will now practice the moves of Geumgang second part in succession while watching the video. The key moves of Geumgang third part consist of Santelmaki, Geumgang Maki, Kundoljogwi, Kundoljogwi, Geumgang Maki, Kundoljogwi, Kundoljogwi, Santelmaki, Anpalmok Hechomaki, and Are Hechomaki. For moves that are performed slowly, complete the foot moves first, then connect to the hand moves. Use one leg to maintain your center. Bend and raise the other knee. Then lightly touch the arc of the back of the foot blade to the inner knee of the supporting leg. The knee should face forward, and the ankle should straighten naturally. The knee should face forward, and maintain posture with the ankle naturally straightened. Cautions for Geumgang third part. Taking a closer look. Do not drag your foot to bring it to the knee when performing Hakdari Sogi. When spinning, be careful not to mix the Chagundoljogwi and Kundoljogwi moves. Be careful not to jump when spinning. We will now practice the moves of Geumgang third part in succession while watching the video. The key moves of Geumgang fourth part consist of Santelmaki, Geumgang-maki, Kun Doljogwi, and Kun Doljogwi. To let the arm blocking the face cross the elbow blocking the lower body on the outside. Cautions for Geumgang fourth part. Taking a closer look. Be mindful of the direction of your eyes when connecting each move. We will now practice the moves of Geumgang fourth part in succession while watching the video. This concludes the training for Geumgang Pumse. We will take another look at all the moves and master Pumse. We have looked at the key moves of Geumgang Pumse and provided thorough explanations for each move and things to watch out for. Train the moves repeatedly while reminding yourself of the firmness and strength embodied by Geumgang. We will see you again in the Taebaek Pumse video. Thanks for watching. The progress line of Taebaek Pumse, which represents the will of Venus to light the whole world through Taekwondo, is the character Gong, which means artisan. We will now take a look at the key moves of Taebaek Pumse. Taebaek Pumse consists of 5 key moves, namely 범서기 손날 아래 헤쳐막기, 손날 엎어잡기, Geumgang 바깥막기, 틀어배기, and 등주먹 바깥치기. We will now take a closer look at each of the key moves of Taebaek Pumse. When performing 범서기 손날 아래 헤쳐막기, both hands should be placed in the center line of the thigh of the front leg. The back of your hands should each face outward, and the space between your hand and body should be about 1 hand's length sideways. Start in front of your chest and perform 헤쳐막기 downward. When assuming postures where the legs are spread forwards and backwards like 범서기 and 앞구비, the arm on the same side as the front foot should cross from the outside. For 손날 엎어잡기, assume an opponent has hold of you. Twist the thumb of the hand being held outside. Then open your hand so the palm is seen from above. Raise your hand and pull it close to your body to release your wrist. Open your arm inside out and cover the back of the hand of your opponent. Hold, bend back, and pull. While bending and twisting, be careful not to let your elbow rise excessively or move outward, as you can only exert force effectively when the elbow is close to the torso. For Geumgang 바깥막기, start with 작은 돌적기 and move together to the center line. This is a technique where the outer arm performs 얼굴막기 and the inner arm performs 안팔목 바깥막기 at the same time. 틀어배기 is a technique where you spin the thumb toward the inner wrist and release between an opponent's thumb and index finger. When performing 얼굴 바깥치기, strengthen the shoulder and shoulder blade by bending the elbow and utilize the torque of the torso. The elbow should face downward and the fist raised level with the temple. Be careful not to bend the elbow. These are the 5 key moves of Taebaek Pumse. We will now look at the moves in succession connecting each move. The key moves of Taebaek first part consist of 손날 아래 헤쳐막기, 오른 앞차기, double 지르기, 손날 아래 헤쳐막기, 왼 앞차기, double 지르기, 제비품 안치기, 젖혀내며 왼 지르기, 젖혀들어 잡아 끌며 지르기, and 손날 엎어잡고 지르기. When performing Taebaek's first move, 손날 아래 헤쳐막기, move your center to your right foot. Set your left foot to the left and assume the 왼 범서기 posture. When blocking from the 왼 범서기 posture, the left arm should cross on the outside. The 앞차기 should be performed forward in a straight line. The kicking foot is folded after the kick. The ball should touch the ground first. Then complete your breath and move the moment your heel touches the ground. When performing 몸통 double 지르기, the lower body should be planted firm to maintain balance. When performing 젖혀내기, pull the hand close to the body and release the wrist, or perform 지르기 by brushing aside and setting your right foot. 젖혀내기 and 지르기 should be performed naturally in succession. Cautions for Taebaek first part, taking a closer look. Be mindful of the inner and outer location of the arm when starting 헤쳐막기. During 앞차기, with the upper body fixed in place, do not kick using only the legs. Be careful not to let the elbow open when performing 지르기. When performing 제비품 안치기, do not twist the torso excessively and lose balance or swerve to the right. We will now practice the moves of Taebaek first part in succession while watching the video. The key moves of Taebaek's second part consist of Geumgang 안팔목 바깥막기, 오른 당겨 지르기, 왼 지르기, 오른 작은 돌저기, 왼 옆차기 오른 팔꿈치 표적치기, 금강 안팔목 바깥막기, 왼 당겨 지르기, 오른 지르기, 왼 작은 돌저기, and 오른 옆차기 왼 팔꿈치 표적치기. When performing 당겨 지르기, the hammer fist being pulled must not touch the front of the opposite shoulder. Pull the left foot to the inside of the right knee. Move your center to the right foot. Then complete 오른 학다리 서기 오른 작은 돌저기. When performing 왼 옆차기 오른 팔굽 표적치기, leave the right fist on the back in the 작은 돌저기 posture. The left fist should start from the waist and draw a circle inside out to perform the 옆차기. Your arms and legs should be parallel above and below. Cautions for Taebaek second part. Taking a closer look. When performing Geumgang 바깥막기, do not block after crossing your arms. Be careful not to let the 당겨 지르기 become 치지르기. Do not perform jirugi while the opposite arm is fixed. When pulling the left foot from the 오른 뒷굽이 while performing 오른 작은 돌저기, be careful not to straighten the supporting right knee. It is important to maintain the same elevation. During 왼 옆차기 오른 팔꿈치 표적치기, do not perform 옆차기 by crossing your arms in front of your chest. We will now practice the moves of Taebaek's second part in succession while watching the video. The key moves to Taebaek's third part consist of 왼손알 고드로 막기, 오른 손끝 세워 찌르기, 오른 hand 밑으로 베기, 등주먹 바깥치기, and 오른 지르기. When performing 왼손알 고드로막기, the hand blade should be level with the solar plexus and the elbow should point downward. The elbow of the blocking arm should maintain 90 degrees to 120 degrees, and the assisting left hand should be level with the right elbow. Keep the left elbow close to the body and leave one hand length between the outer wrist and torso. When performing 손끝 세워 지르기, keep the index, middle, and ring finger in a straight line at the same length to prevent injuries. The force is concentrated in the tip of the hand with a small area of contact, making it effective in attacking the opponent's pressure points. When performing 밑으로 베기, you must move and set the left foot to the left. Twist the body to the opposite direction of progress, then perform 왼 앞굽이. Place your left hand in front of the chest. Open your hand with a space of one raised fist. Open your right hand and pull the back of your hand to the right back. Begi must be performed quickly. Use your arm and weight together to finish the move. Push off the ground with the left foot. Move your center to the right foot. Spin with the right ball as an axis. Then perform 등주먹 바깥치기. 오른 지르기 is performed with a shout. Perform 내딛기 with 오른 앞굽이, following the previous 오른 뒷굽이 등주먹치기 with no change in elevation. Cautions for Taebaek third part. Taking a closer look. When performing 손알 고드로막기, the elbow should not move forward. If it does, the direction of the force will change. When performing 손끝 세워 지르기, be careful not to let the wrist bend. When performing 밑으로 빼기, do not pull by merely changing directions. When performing 등주먹 바깥치기, be careful not to let the wrist bend. We will now practice the moves of Taebaek third part in succession while watching the video. The key moves of Taebaek fourth part consist of 오른 가위막기, 오른 앞차기, and double jirugi. 왼 가위막기, 왼 앞차기, and double jirugi. 가위막기 is a technique to perform 아래막기 and 안팔목 바깥막기 simultaneously, but it can also be utilized as a more appropriate technique depending on the motion. Cautions for Taebaek fourth part. Taking a closer look. The basics of 가위막기 is to perform 아래막기 with the left arm when the left foot is in front, and 안팔목 바깥막기 with the right arm. When performing 앞차기, be careful not to let the kicking leg pass the supporting leg and do a folding kick. We will now practice the moves of Taebaek fourth part in succession while watching the video. This concludes the training for Taebaek Pumse. We will take another look at all the moves and master Pumse. We have looked at all the key moves of Taebaek Pumse and provided thorough explanations for each move and things to watch out for. Continue with your training of Taebaek, which seeks to light the world, and let the light abide in your body and mind as well. We will see you again in the Pyeongwon Pumse video. Thanks for watching.